What is good, Neo family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Neo stock and some very important factors that could definitely affect the share price going into this week. I'm also going to give you guys my price prediction for this week for Neo, as we do have some major pieces of news coming out from the CPI data to what the Fed is doing, and also we have other pieces of news affecting Neo that make me super bullish for the future, as many analysts are saying that you should be buying it. I'm also going to end this video by talking about what's going on with Neo's Twitter page, as they have announced some very important things that make me super bullish for the future. Now, before I say anything about that, however, before I talk about why I'm super bullish for the future of this company, I do have to mention some very important things first. First off, I'm not a financial planner. This is all for educational purposes only, so please do not take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, benefits the entire new community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you do sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're not only going to qualify for up to 5 free stocks, each worth up to $3,500, but you're also going to have the opportunity to win up to $200,000, as Moomoo is giving away 200 grand for the new year. So if you want a chance to win that money, guys, and you want up to 5 free stocks, check out the link down below and deposit $100 to get your chance. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So anyways, guys, looking at Neo, we had a very crazy day. Looking at the one-day chart, we ran up to about $24.78 a share, showing that we do have the ability to run even in this market. Now, after that, we jumped pretty hard to about $23.53 before running up once again to about $24 a share, then closing the day at around $23.99, once again in the green, up 0.13%. So once again, guys, we did manage to close in the green, which is a pretty good sign, considering the fact that Tesla and the Nasdaq were in the red. So if I brought up like Neo's share price like this, and then if I showed you guys the Nasdaq, look how similar the price action is, right? The Nasdaq ended up running up, then it dipped again. It ran up one last time before dropping pretty hard. And as a result of that, guys, the drop at the end was not the same as Neo's. Neo, on the other hand, closed in the green, which is a pretty good sign, as I stated before. Now, looking at the fear and greed index for this market, guys, the fear and greed index, we're seeing it's currently at 34 right now. It shows that the overall market is a little bit more on the fearful side. Now, that's very important because of the fact that we have new pieces of data coming out, and people are very uncertain. I think a lot of investors are anticipating a bit of a correction, but just because a lot of people are anticipating it doesn't mean it has to happen, right? Or at least it doesn't have to happen the way a lot of investors are thinking. So that doesn't mean the market's not going to crash. I do see downside for the overall market for the future. It's just that I don't think we're there quite yet. And also, it may not be as bad or severe as people are anticipating now that so many people are seeing it coming, right? Because we have CPI data coming out this week, right? And the CPI data is very important, guys, for Thursday, because of the fact that if it's above 7.2%, or at least the inflationary data shows that, that's not going to be too good for us, guys. It's going to cause the market to take a big hit. But if it's below 7.2%, that's going to be a pretty good sign for us. So we want it to be below 7.2%. We want it to be below 7%. That's going to be very good. If it's below 7%, the market's going to rally. If not, it could kind of remain sideways or maybe even drop a little bit. So I want you guys to be prepared for that. And it's something I think that's very important for us to be aware of. And also news like this, as CNBC is talking about how, oh, we're talking about 7 rate hikes, that there's so many things that the Fed are going to be doing that are very hawkish for this market. And my answer to that is, I think 7 rate hikes is a bit of an exaggeration. I don't think it's going to be more than 5. And the reason I'm talking about these rate hikes is because of the inflationary data. Even though inflation is at a high point, I don't know if the Fed is going to have to raise rates that much for it to actually go down. So I also want to talk about other pieces of news first, but what's my price prediction then? So considering the fact that we have CPI data, it's very hard for me to make a perfect prediction. But if we look at the overall formation of this stock, we're so far following this channel where we're dropping back and forth and back and forth. So look at this. Right here is where it would take us to 24, maybe almost to 25 is where we have strong resistance. If we end up breaking out of that, guys, and if the market has a big run, we do have this inverse head and shoulders that formed right here. If I look at the 2-hour car channel, let's see, it's right here, right? This is the inverse head and shoulders. There's the shoulder here, the head, and then the other shoulder. So we could end up moving to the upside if the market ends up rallying just a little bit. So if the market allows it, guys, Neo could go to the high 20s this week, maybe even next week, if the market allows it. But I do find that it's just kind of like a 50-50 chance of that happening, because it depends on like the data what the Fed ends up announcing, and it's very hard for me to make that call. But based off just this channel and the fact that a lot of people want me to make a price prediction, I'm going to make my prediction, and that status. I think we're going to go that high. I have a feeling we're going to run up. I could be totally wrong, but I'm just going to make that prediction. And that's what I think is going to play out. So I could be totally wrong, guys. We could see NEO go to 27 if the market ends up rallying that hard. And it is definitely possible. It's definitely possible if we end up seeing a good run. So remember, guys, we have a gap to fill right here around 26 to 27. So I do think we could get there relatively soon, but it does depend on the market, and the market may end up allowing that. Now, when it comes to NEO, I'm very, very bullish for the future, but for the short term, there are analysts out there saying that NEO is looking pretty good and it's primed for a big run. As you guys can see, they're talking about how the fact that the January deliveries for both NEO and Xpong and other platforms and companies out there have been a little bit lower than anticipated, but they're doing pretty well when it comes to their production capability that is increasing over time. Now, that's a pretty good sign, guys. We are seeing good moves coming out when it comes to them improving their production, but they did delay their listing on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange as of right now, and they ended up going to turn over to Singapore, so that they're going to be listed on the Singapore Exchange. However, guys, they could still list on the Hong Kong Exchange. We're still waiting a little bit on that. And it doesn't necessarily affect US investors. It is something just very important to be discussing. Now, I want to talk about, or at least bring back this news I talked about recently, and that's the fact that many analysts are saying that NEO still has the potential to go to $83 a share this week. I'm not this week, I'm sorry, this year. For this year, I do think it's possible, but it does depend on the overall conditions of the market. And it's very hard to make that call because there's so many factors that will actually cause this to happen. Now, another big thing right over here is the fact that, look, we have earnings, guys. Remember that. We have earnings on the 7th of March 2022. At least that's as of right now. That's the date at which it's planned. So I want you guys to be very prepared for that. That could be pretty huge, guys, if NEO announces something very awesome. And that could be the catalyst that I was talking about earlier that causes us to run to $27 or higher. So I just want to put it out there, guys. Maybe my prediction's a little bit too early. Maybe it'll take us a couple of weeks to get there. But based off this data, it seems pretty good, or at least pretty likely we will have a run relatively soon. To end the video, I wanted to end it with this right here. Basically, NEO tweeted that Pano Cinema is the panoramic and immersive digital cockpit on the NEO ET5, featuring the AR and VR technologies. Once again, that's very awesome, guys. I think it's going to provide a very good user experience. It's very world-class technology, and that's going to be very awesome going into the future of this company as their customer service gets better and they improve in terms of fundamentals over and over again. So the market isn't perfect. Even if a company kills it fundamentally, the stock could still drop. But right now, guys, I'm not necessarily scared because based off all this data, based off the fact that the EV sector is growing in the US and all over the world every single year, I find it very probable that NEO is going to run to the upside eventually if you just give it the time it needs. So that's what I have for this one. I thank you for listening. And I already told you guys my price prediction. I could be totally wrong, but hey, I'm just going to give it a shot. And that's what I have for this one. So I thank you for listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next one. NEO to the moon, and peace out.